So today we'll be walking through the 4 easy steps of how to create a group shell creation in Espresso. We're going to search for a great sailing, select a category, enter some group details, review everything, and book. It is literally that easy. As I like to say, Espresso is designed to help you put your client knowledge to use. As a reminder, this webinar will focus on group creation within Espresso, so we encourage you to reach out to your sales managers with any questions you may have on group policy or any of our ships and products. We're going to start by logging into Cruising Power, and then we're going to go to Booking Tools and click Espresso. From here, we also, as you can see from the previous page, we also have the widget on the home page of Cruising Power. However, we highly recommend starting from within Espresso to be able to experience the fullness of what Espresso has to offer. So we're going to start by selecting Start a Group. And as you can notice that this screen is very similar, almost identical to the screen that you see when making an individual reservation. The top of the screen, however, is a tad different as this is where we enter the group information. We will add in what we would like to name the group here. And so for today's demonstration, we're just going to name it Espresso Training. And next we need to select which group type we would like to create. There are a few different options here. However, in Espresso, you can only create a group shell as an affinity or promotional group. And I'll say that again. You can only create affinity or promotional groups within Espresso. For the other group types, you are able to call in, get those groups created, and then service them in Espresso. For this webinar, we will create an affinity group shell. Next, you're able to select the policy type for your group shell. And again, for more information on what the policy types represent for your group and what that means, we always advise you to consult with your sales manager to help you fully understand those policies so you're confident while making your group shell. For our Espresso purposes today, the policy types represent the timeline for your deposits and how many staterooms your group shell will consist of. For the deposit, this one here, you can add up to 50 staterooms. With no deposit, you're able to select up to 16 staterooms. For today's webinar, we are selecting no deposit. And then here you will be able to see that this button is for headquarter groups. Some of us will have this and some of us don't, but if you have this button, this is where you're able to create those headquarter groups. Next, this should look very familiar from the last webinar on individual reservations. You will see all of the different filters that we have available for us to select the perfect sailing for our group. As you can see, you can select by brand or by ship. You can look into the different destinations your client would like to explore or which departure port you would like to have them leave from. You can also look into the different departure dates and search by the number of nights your clients would like to sail. Next, you'll see the guest section. And this is important that you build your group shell with double occupancy, as oftentimes triples and quads are not open for groups. So our suggestion is to create the reservation for triple and quads as an individual reservation with the desired occupancy. Then you can transfer that reservation into the group. And at the end of this presentation, I will actually show you how to make that transfer. You also have your filters for accessible stateroom and for connecting stateroom. And then lastly, you will see the currency, which for mostly applies for my Canadian friends. This is where you're able to switch between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. However, most of us will have the US dollar. So for this presentation, I'm going to push our date back a little bit and click search. Again, this page is going to look very similar to the individual reservation page. This is the sailing availability page where we're able to search for the perfect sailing to secure our group online. This is going to show us all of the selling availabilities with the qualifiers that we inputted in the step before. On the left-hand side, you will see all of the options that we previously had are available here to adjust our search at any point. So looking at our sailing availability, there's a lot of great information here that can help us decide on the best sailing for our clients. Any text that is hyperlinked in blue, you're able to click on it. For example, if you click on the date, it will show you the price, it will show you the dining options, and it will show you the sailing itinerary. If you click on the name of the ship, it will show you all of the ship details and facts, including the ship, those deck plans. So you can see it shows you all of the things here, and then you can search by deck as well. Fantastic. Then you can even click on the price to show you what the promotions are for that lowest available fare. And the cool thing about searching for groups is that on this page, you're actually able to see how many gap points you will be able to receive from each sailing. And you're actually able to click on gap points, and you're able to search by the number of gap points you will be interested in. If you're unsure of the sailing that you're interested in, of course, you can always click on up to 3 sailings and you can compare those. And on this comparison page, you'll be able to compare by price, of course, that dining availability, if that's something that interests you and your clients, and those sailing itineraries. What an amazing sailing. So from here, we're going to go back and we're going to select a sailing for our group. Here it goes. Fantastic. So I'm going to look at those gap points again. And let's select this cruise here. So we find the one that we would like and we're going to hit select. And now we are on step 2, categories. Of course, we can always go back and modify the search here, or we can always go back to sailing availability if we would like to change anything. Then as you scroll down, you can see that this bar here is where you'll be able to shop for different dates. So if you don't have specific dates in mind for how you would like to create your group shell, you can always change your dates directly from here. So as we search for that category, we can always, we have a couple of filters here that we can select. We can search for specific categories listed here, or we can select by the status of those categories. So if they're available or closed, and you'll be able to see that a little further down as well. And then you're also able to add in here those accessible and those connecting staterooms here as well. Also over here, you can view the different group rates that you're able to use while booking your group. You're even able to compare up to 2 while shopping. And so again, if you have any questions about those different rates that we have to offer, we always encourage you to reach out to your sales manager. So I'm going to scroll down. And so now we have a view of all of the different categories that are available on this sailing. Scroll down a little further here. Again, anything that is hyperlinked, you're able to click on those to view more information on that category and a descriptor of that category. You're able to see what those unique rooms look like and all of the different features that it has to offer. You're also able to view the rates and the pricing for those categories as well. You will see there are boxes on the right of the category. This is where you're able to add in how many rooms you would like for your group shell for that specific category. And I'm actually going to scroll to the bottom here to show you how easy this is. So down here, you're able to see the minimum amount of staterooms, how many you have added, which is 0. We haven't added any at this point, and how many remaining that you have for your group. So this is how Espresso makes it easy and does all the work for you in terms of calculating for the type of policy that you selected. So I'm going to go back up and select a few different rooms. Excuse me, a few different categories. So I'm going to select 6 veranda rooms and 3 inside. And we're going to click add. And so now you're going to see that category inventory update and add here. So it shows again the minimum amount of staterooms that we needed to create this group shell, how many we've added, and how many remaining we could add here. And so now if you wanted to delete any of those categories, you're able to do that through the trash can here. Or if you would like to change the amounts that you pulled and added to this shell, you're able to do that here as well. At the bottom of your screen, you're able to see to allocate those staterooms. However, this will require a deposit and it will create a timeline on your group shell. So we're going to proceed to group details and we are almost done. Again, this process is really so easy. So now we are on step 3. It has updated the information here. It shows us the amount of staterooms, the amount of guests that we have for our group shell. It also shows us the amount of gap points and our current tour conductor credits. You're actually able to click on this and see the breakdown of how those credits come about. So all the information is directly in here. So here is where we allocate the group dining for the group we are creating. And again, Espresso does all of the work for you. So here we have how many guests need dining, the total amount of guests, and the amount of assigned guests, which is 0 because we haven't added in any yet. So this is where you're able to customize the experience for everyone in the group. Although you're creating your group, you're still able to customize the experience for each individual passenger. So if you know that some people like to eat early, you can enter a specific number here for those guests. If you know that people want to eat a little later, you're also able to add them to that later dining time as well. And if you know that some people like to have their freedom while cruising and would like to decide when they would like to dine, you can add them to the Celebrity Select or My Time Dining here. You can also add the configurations for those dining times. So if you would like them to sit round robin, would you like them to sit apart or together, you're able to make that selection directly from here. And so here we're going to have them sit together. And as you can see up here, our numbers have updated. At this point, 0 guests need dining. And so once we add those guests to a booking, we can then assign them to their specific dining times. And so we'll be able to see an updated number here at that time. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And from here, you can add air, but we always recommend that you go into Flight Finder through Cruising Power to add flights to your bookings, which we will do a webinar in the coming weeks. So next we're going to click Review and Book and head to the last step in our process. So now we are on step 4 and we are almost done with creating our group shell. Here we're just going to double check all of that information to make sure that the sailing is correct and that we've created the group the specific way we have liked. You're able to view that payment schedule here. It tells you when the deposit is for each stateroom and what the final payment will look like for each stateroom. So you're able to communicate all of this information directly to your clients. If we scroll down a little more, this gives us a financial summary of all of the group shell that we've created, including our commission. And on my screen, it's going to show 0, but on yours, it will show an actual amount. And then if you scroll down a little further, again, you can view those group details or the agency details as well. Once we feel satisfied with this, we're going to click Finish. And now we have successfully created a group shell. And so this is what your group will look like, and that is it. We have now created a group shell for our client's vacation, and those are the 4 easy steps of how to create a group shell reservation in Espresso. And so I'm going to switch over my screen here. So again, we're going to walk through how to transfer an individual reservation into a group shell. Like I mentioned before, when you build a group shell, you want to build it with double occupancy. So add into those triple and quad staterooms, we can create them as an individual reservation, pay the deposit, and then transfer them into the group. There are a few different ways you can complete this. However, I'm going to walk you through how to do this from inside of the group shell. So we're going to retrieve the group shell reservation by using that booking number that we just seen on the last screen there. And then to the left, under Manage, it's in red here, you will see Transfer Reservation to Group, and you will click that. Next, you will add in the individual reservation here, and you'll find that reservation. Once it pops up, you'll be able to click that checkbox here, next to the reservation, and to select it as a reservation you would like to add. Then you will click Continue here, and you are all done. It is literally so simple to add in an individual reservation to a group. The process is identical. If you were to retrieve the individual reservation, select Transfer to a Group in the gray bar, you'll be able to add in the group shell number and click Continue. And so that is how you transfer an individual reservation into a group shell reservation. And so we want to thank you all so much for listening. We wish you all the success in your business, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.